All right, Gene Gall here with Mr. Kenneth Redfoot, and he's the architect behind what you see up there. How did you get involved in this process?
Well, we competed among other architects to get the commission, and we were successful in our presentation and selected by the school administration and school board to do this project. So we're very fortunate that we're able to do that and do this wonderful project that we see here today at the grand opening.
At the presentation, you mentioned some of the special features in the school.
Yeah.
How did you decide to, you're going for LEED certification, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And what does LEED certification mean for folks who are not aware of what LEED certification is?
Well, LEED certification, LEED is actually a national group that's come together to formulate a whole system and criteria of energy conserving type features in buildings. And what we did and what we are actually mandated to do by the school board is go for a silver certification. So what we do is at the end of the building process, we take all the documentation that's required and we send it to this third-party independent group. They review all the documentations to make sure that we've hit all of the compliance necessary to reach certain levels of achievement. And silver is the level that we're achieving on this project.
Okay, that was one of the requirements the school board placed on you. What were some of the other requirements?
Well, one of the things that we did, and I mentioned it in my discussion here today, was work very closely with the different user groups and the different departments to go through a design process that included their input. And sometimes that doesn't happen. And that was a very interesting process. It was done during the height of COVID. So the remarkable thing was that all of these meetings that were happening between our group and the different departments were all Zoom meetings. So it was a different kind of thing for us because typically we would come meet face to face, but we were able to successfully go through that process through multiple meetings and then ultimately get to a plan that was approved by everybody, and then we could move forward into the construction documents and then ultimately to the building.
You mentioned the word surprising. What was surprising about the process?
I can't remember why I said surprising.
Okay, well, let me ask you then this question.
Yep.
What in the process did you find overwhelmingly came across from the folks that are going to be using this building?
Was their attention to detail, their understanding of their individual department, their needs for the way that their department worked, and then the way that it worked internally, and the way that their department then integrated with all the other departments that were moving into the building. Because this building actually brings together all of the different departments in Chatham County Schools under one roof. So it accomplishes a lot in terms of the efficiency of the overall system. And then also the groups were aware of the fact that, we're going to build this building, it's going to have to last a long time. So they were also forward thinking about future needs. Not in an extravagant way, mind you, but they had to think about, okay, so 5-10 years down the line, am I going to have another office? Do I have to take a storage room that is presently designed as a storage room, but outfit it to become possibility of an office in the future? So it's that kind of thought process. And everybody was very, very professional, and it worked out quite well.
You mentioned one of the challenges was the fact that this started in the pandemic. Were there other challenges that you overcame, and what were some of those?
No, that was probably the biggest. As far as it was unusual that, we'd never done that before. COVID was kind of a one-off thing, and we just happened to be right in the middle of the design of the project when it hit. But we couldn't stop. Nobody could stop because we were under a time schedule to get the thing done. And so it was an interesting process, and I think very successful. And I guess it shows how Zoom really worked well for us because I think we have a good project here that responds to people's needs.
What about this entire project, this entire building that puts the biggest smile on Ken Redfoot's face? Can you tell us what that is?
Actually, I was walking in here today and seeing the public in the open lobby area, and the way that everybody was very excited about the project, excited about seeing it, and then actually catching up with different department heads and people, and just finding out after a few months of being in the building, how's it working for them. And without fail, everybody was very positive about it. And so that made me really feel good.
Mr. Redfoot, anything else to close up this conversation?
No, thank you for taking the time with me.
All right, Mr. Redfoot, you're going back in the lobby, aren't you?
Yeah, sure.
All right.